Hey, Tony Gasson here, popping in. You know what? I was brushing my teeth not long ago. Slept in today because we in the hurricane came through here, and it was. I was thinking. I said, what I'm gonna talk about today, and I'm gonna just take you through the situation right here. Is I seen a celebrity. I was in the bed. I was looking at my Instagram. I'll go to my Discover page. I look, see the news, see what's going on, learning about the world, just seeing what's going on. Watch a little piece on all the gangs killing in Jacksonville, Florida, and one of my homeboys live there, and just learning about it. And then I seen uh, Russell Wilson and Sierra in Italy. Looked like on the anniversary trip, and I love to see that. That's why I'm saying they name, because it ain't nothing bad. I love to see that. And I just love to see what they representing. Now, you know, I just love to see just marriage and other people married, and you know when I seen that, I sent it to my wife and I said, "Hey, Italy open," because we went to Italy and we had some great time in Positano, Sorrento, Capri. We was all different Rome, different parts of Italy a couple summers ago, and it was a beautiful time. And we didn't have the money to do it, but I believe in living, and I trust God for the rest. I'm not finna sit in those shackles and worrying and biting my nails and stressing when God told me He clothed the lilies of the field and feed the fowls of the air. I believe in living because we get one chance to do it. I'm not caught up on no savings and having no billions of dollars, millions of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in a saving account somewhere when it's a part of the world I ain't seen. Now, to each their own. You do you. But me, I'm going to get up and I'm going to learn how to make money. I'm going to trust God to help me earn, and I'm gonna live. And I'm gonna be living righteous though. I ain't finna be in sin. I ain't in no brothels. I ain't in fornication and adultery and expecting God to move on my behalf. But listen to me. Seen them over there. I sent the picture to my wife. I said, "Hey, Italy open." And then I said, "You think they flew private over there, or you think they flew on like first class on Delta One, like on Delta One, because you get treated, you lay down and all of that." And she said, "I'm pretty sure they flew private." And I say, "Yeah, you right." I say, if I had 20 million plus sitting in a bank account, because Russell probably make like 24 million a year, you coming home with 12. He ain't no high maintenance guy. He probably keeping at least six of that. At least six of that. He been playing for years. He might be sitting on 20 M's plus cash in the bank. I say, if I'm sitting on 20 million, what's 200,000 for a flight to Italy on a private jet? What's 200,000 out of 20 million? And I say, yeah. And she said, on their anniversary trip, I'm pretty sure they flew private. And the reason why I asked that, because this one thing that I'm about. This one thing I'm about, and I try to identify things that have helped me change my life. And when I say change my life, I mean going from a man who was a womanizer, a complete dog, who would be with three women in a 24-hour period, to being a one-woman man. That's a huge change. That's a huge change. Going from a man who was nasty, who was just like a savage, a man who, if you park too close to me, I'm keying your whole car. Going from that man to being a man who I will give you a car. That's a big change. Going from a man who was a drug dealer in the streets hustling with a gun in my lap and I'm serving 21 hours a day, to being a faithful and committed husband and father. Going from a man who earned $20,000 a year working a job to earning millions of dollars a year. That's a big change. And so I try to identify things in my life that I've done, that I'm gonna be sharing this with the world, that I feel have played a part. And this one thing as a man, that I have always been not always, but since I changed my mindset, and it probably was around 2010 and probably really got strong around 2012. And it's a daily struggle. It's a daily battle. Like, because in Ephesians 5, it tells a man to love our wives as Christ loved the church. And I try to sit and really draw the parallel. I try to really paint that picture of Christ's love for the church, and just the sacrifice, and the unmerited favor, and just the relentless love, and the salvation of. And I try to really paint that picture, and I ask myself, why in the world would God bring a son into the world and have him live a reported perfect life and then sacrifice him for the world? He gave his life for the salvation of the world. And then this is the only perfect example of a human that anybody in the world has. No other religious text talks of a perfect human being, who sacrificed his life, who allowed himself to be crucified for the salvation of others. And so here you have this example, and then we are instructed, divinely instructed by the writer who wrote Ephesians 5, which probably was Apostle Paul, for husbands to love our wives as Christ loved the church. And so I take that very seriously, because the way that Christ redeemed me, and the way that Christ moves in my life and blesses me and pours out into my life, and gives me the strength and the wisdom that I need to serve the world. And I take that very seriously. I don't take that lightly. And so I say, okay, let me love my wife on this level. Let me pursue this in every area, in whatever means that I have, because I'm blessed monetarily, I'm blessed mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. So I want to bless my wife in every single area that I'm able to bless her. And I don't want another woman in the world to experience something that my wife won't get to experience. And I pray for the opportunity to enjoy life to its fullest on earth while we're here serving the world for the greater good of the kingdom. But I still believe in having, like the Bible say, that God will grant you the desires of your heart. I still believe in that while sacrificing and serving and dying out to my flesh and to myself to serve the world. And so what I try to do every single day is perfect the way that I talk to my wife, and the way that I treat my wife, the way that I view my wife. And I make excuses for her. Which is essentially granting grace. Because what is Christ doing for you? Because, and if you're not Christian, then it may or may not land. You may not understand what I'm saying, and I may not be able to reach every man because of belief systems. But even if you just look at it as a metaphor or an analogy, but when you really think about this thing, I'm like, I've been forgiven, I've been graced, I've been favored. Excuses have been made for me. The bar has not been set extremely high, because there is grace and there is mercy and there is forgiveness. So although I'm instructed to pursue perfection, there is grace, there is mercy, there is forgiveness. So therefore, when I fall short, I am forgiven, and I can get up, brush myself off, and go at it again. And so I said, let me give that same grace to my wife, and let me seek to understand and then be understood, as Dr. Stephen R. Covey says. And let me come to a place to where I'm not competing with her, and I'm not giving her based on what she gives me. I'm not saying, oh, I'm only doing this if she does this for me, or if she doesn't cook every day, if she doesn't clean every week, if she doesn't do this and she doesn't do that, then I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. But no, I try to go above and beyond. Her birthday coming up in September, and my goal is, because I come to a different place in my life now. One of my goals and one of her love languages is gifts, because she grew up and didn't get a lot of tough times with her mom being from Jamaica and working under the table at times, and having to live with family sometimes, having to sleep in the car sometimes, having to split a bean burrito from Taco Bell sometimes. One of her love languages is gifts. She loves celebration. She loves birthdays, celebrating birthdays. And one of my goals, and I'm just sharing this to be, transparent in what I mean by giving her the world, is at my level, I don't have the money that the rappers have and that the athletes have, but at my level, I want to be able to give my wife $35,000 to do whatever she want to do with it on her 35th birthday. And that's a huge, huge, huge goal. That's a huge goal. And I don't know how it's going to happen, but I set a crazy goal like that for myself. And may not reach it, but I set that goal because I want her. And even if I come up with $5K, she going to be extremely happy. If all I have $1,500, she going to be extremely happy. But I set that goal high and I work toward it. And I'm selling one of my old school cars that I posted on Instagram, my Chevelle. And from that sale, I'm going to put that $25K, I'm going to put that up in my pot. I'm liquidating. Because my wife's birthday coming up. And I say that to say, when I went into this space of let me try to be a blessing to my wife in every area. When I say every area, I mean every area. I want to bless her body. I want to bless her mind. I want to bless her spirit. I want to bless her heart. I want to bless her closet. I want to bless her bank account. I want to bless her pocketbook. I want to bless her hair, her skin, her hands, her feet. I want to bless her eyes, her nose, her teeth, her lips, her everything. I want to bless her in every area. See, in Ephesians 5, it said, and present her blemish and spot free. Now, I don't know what that means because her salvation ain't up to me. So it can't be talking about her salvation. It can't be talking about her righteousness and her holiness because that's on her. That's not up to me. But what it means to me is to wash her with love, to protect and provide, to take care of her, to adorn her. So I want her like a queen, in the finest of linen, in the finest of jewelry, in the finest of makeup, in the finest of hair oil, skin oil, everything oil, the finest of foods, the finest of bedding to sleep on, the finest of shoes to walk in. You hear me? Everything I want. And see, here's the thing. As a man, see, it's you unlock something, and this is what a lot of men gonna struggle with. And I struggle with saying this, and I struggle with doing this. I'm here to tell you, this is not easy. This is going to be the hardest thing you do in your life because it takes you into a level of selflessness that you've never had. And this woman is not blood of your blood, flesh of your flesh. So see, it's not the same when you do it for your daughter or your son because they come from you. They're from your loins. That's your blood and flesh. But see, this woman come from another man. She got a daddy. She got a mama. So you loving somebody who is outside of you, and you only become one spiritually. You become one spiritually, not physically. And so you're loving another human being who is no kin to you. Unless you live in certain parts of the world where y'all marry people who kin to you. Who is no kin to you. And she is not of your bloodline. She is not of your flesh. And you are loving her on a level that is blameless, that is pure, that you're not trying to control her. You're not trying to mislead her. You're not trying to deceive her, to cheat on her, manipulate her. None of that. You want to give her the world, and you want to bless her. You want to bless her, and you want to pour out into her bosom, and you want Her every wish becomes your command. And as a man, you accept that charge. And this the lamest, simplest thing that we can ever say or hear. But when I did this, something, and I'm not gonna call it magical because I don't believe in magic. Being a Christian, something divine happened, something spiritual happened. It was like I unlocked something in my brain. It was like by me going to that level of love. See, when you operating from love, by me going to that level of love, and let me watch the time because I got to coach a client here. By me, I got to turn my computer on so I can watch time. By me going to that, okay, I got 18 minutes. By me going to that level of love, that level of selflessness, it unlocks something. Because you got to understand, to make $1 million in a pure way, in a clean way, in an honest way, in a way that you're not losing or ruining the quality of your life, in a way that you still have time for your kids and for your wife. To make $1 million in a year, you have to unlock something. And to keep balance in your life. Like, we just went on a 5 night, 6-day vacation in Jamaica with our sons. That's balance. I didn't have to do any work. I had to get on the computer for 30 minutes to set up an email blast and to change the prices on Tony Gass's Academy. For a flash sale on July 4th. So I had to work for 30 minutes in those 6 days. That right there, in order to get to that place, you have to unlock something else in your brain. You have to tap into something else in your life. You can't be operating from aggression to do that, because that's a state of flow, as they call it. You know, that's a state of peace. That's a state of balance. So that is it comes from peace. It comes from clarity. So in order to be able to earn millions of dollars a year and still have time for your wife and your kids, and a week before or 2 weeks before that 6th day, we were in Jamaica for 7 nights and 8 days with my friend for his birthday. And I didn't have to work at all on that trip. I didn't have to do any work on that trip. So, and I work for myself. So it's not like I'm leaving somebody else's company on my 2-week vacation. And me and my wife getting ready to go to the Maldives for 6 days. And that's all we can do right now because of our kids. But I'm not going to work at all on that trip. I'm going to do my work before it. But in order to get to that place as a man, it's something else got to be unlocked. So yes, you can unlock ambition. Yes, you can unlock, vision and visualizing and goal setting. But it is something special. It's something spiritual. It's something righteous. It's something divine about treating the human that God made from man. So you are a man, and a woman was created from a man. Children come from the loins of a man. We hold in our bodies what it takes to create a human being. So it starts with the man. It comes from the man, and then it is developed in the woman. So when you take this woman who is a vessel of God to fulfill God's plan for the earth, because she nurtures and carries and protects and provides for the children that will carry the world forward, that will carry the kingdom, the ministry, and everything forward. So this woman, in the sight of God, is fearfully and wonderfully made. She is a pristine, divine creation of God. And her role in the world, as it relates to God's plan, not man's plan, as it relates to God's plan, her role in the world is vital. If you remove her, everything stops. Everything ceases to exist, because two men cannot come together and birth a child and create a child. Two men cannot do that. So this has to happen through the woman. So you got to understand this. So when you take this woman and you say, I'm going to treat her in a God-like manner, I'm going to treat her the way God intended for her to be treated. How would God talk to her? A lot of men want to call themselves kings and want to call themselves gods. If you even believe that, if this woman is God's creation, how would God talk to her? Not how man would talk to her. How would God talk to her? How would God love her? See, if God looked at her and he looks at the plan that he has for her life and the role that she plays, if God says every single human being has to be carried in you for 9 months and has to be fed from your body, from your bosom, every human being has to be fertilized, fermented inside of the woman's body. How precious does he see her? How precious will he treat her? Because of the role that she plays in God's plan. And see, this is the thing that we don't think about as a man. We think she is our disposal, but she's greater than our needs for her, because she has a plan and a purpose from her creator. Because see, man did not create woman, God did. So man did not create the universe and the world, God did. So man's needs from a woman have to be less than God's needs from a woman. So God says, this is woman. Whoa, man, you are man. This is your place and your role. This is her place and her role. God said, look at her role and you tell me how important to the grand scheme of things is her role. So listen, so when I talk about, the material things and the monetary things, that's a byproduct. That comes later. What first matters is her peace. See, how I talk to her, her state of well-being. See, how, I'm watching the time. See, how does she feel in my presence? If she feels little, if she feels belittled, if she feels demeaned, if she feels degraded, if she feels less than, if I'm comparing her to other women, if I'm holding her up against other women, if I'm making her feel like she's not as good as this woman, she's not as beautiful as this woman, she's not as smart as this woman, then how does she feel? Okay, and if she feels like that, then then what is her brain doing? Her brain is releasing toxins into her bloodstream, and her stomach is hurting, and her head is hurting. So what is that doing to the fetus in her body? And then when the child comes out, if she feels downtrodden and berated and degraded, then where is she operating from, and what does she have to give to my child that she has brought into the world? If she feels less than, if she feels unappreciated, if she feels unattractive, if I'm not making sure that her hands and feet can be done, that her facials can be done, that her hair can be done, if not in a professional establishment, but at least at home, if not the finest of chemicals and
ointments than even the least of them that come from CVS or Rite Aid or Walgreens. It don't have to be from the Giorgio Armani that my wife wears now, and the Chanel face wash that she uses now, and SkinCeuticals. It might be Noxzema, okay, from CVS first. But if I can't make sure she at least can get that $10 foot tub that can be filled up with hot water and plugged in, and it go to bubbling, and she could put her feet in there. And then when her feet come out, I can get that little brush and brush her heels and brush her feet. And we can take in, she could clip her toenails, or I could clip her toenails, and then we could paint her toenail, and we could put that lotion on it and moisturizer on it, and then we could put that wool sock on it and let her feet be soft and supple and just relax her body so that them toxins release through her feet. See, if I can't even provide an oasis for my woman, and if I don't have all the money in the world, if I can't make it happen, then what does she have to give to my children that are her children too? See, if I fail her, then I'm failing my kids. And if I'm failing her and I'm failing my kids, I'm failing my lineage. I'm failing my legacy. And I'm failing my God. So see, this is what I'm trying to get men to understand, that there is power that is transmuted to you when you treat God's creation for you the way that she is intended to be treated. When you treat her blameless, spotless, blemish free, the way Christ loves the church, I'm telling you, you tap into a level of love, of peace. It gotta be your goal to talk to her perfectly, to treat her perfectly, to adorn her perfectly, to praise her perfectly every single day. I'm talking to my wife every day, and I say, baby, you too beautiful. I say, oh my goodness, you too beautiful. Oh my goodness, girl, I can't even look at you. Oh my goodness. And guess what? When I look at her, that's how I feel. And you know why I feel like that? Because I'm 100% faithful. I don't masturbate. So I'm not even giving my power, my loins, I'm not even giving it to the toilet stool. You remember that man who spilt his sperm on the ground and he was killed in the Bible? I'm not even giving it to the toilet stool, to some tissue, to a napkin. It only goes to my wife. All of that power that God done put in me, it go to her and her only. I don't even masturbate. I don't watch pornography. I don't do none of that. I don't sleep with other women. I don't cheat with other women emotionally or physically. Do you hear me? All of me go to one woman. So what it does is it washes her face. It washes her body. It cleanses her spirit. And when I look at her, I see an angel in human form. I'm telling you the truth. But see, you can't experience this if you can't be 100% pure. See, when I talk to her too wrong, if I snap at her, I got to come back. Cause I'm stressed about something. I done let some stress get to me. I done let somebody get on my nerves. I done let something bother me. I done let a thought in my head placed by the adversary go to messing me up. If my energy wrong to her, I got to come back, boom, and I got to correct it. Baby, hey, I apologize. I got to be man enough to apologize. Listen, I could talk on this for 4-5 hours, but I think you get the point. Listen, treat her perfectly. Make it your goal to treat her perfectly and to do everything in your power So as soon as after I seen Russell and Sierra over there, I say, my wife, I got to take her back to Italy. But instead of just taking her to Italy, I want to fly her over there private. You ain't got to stand in nobody line. Girl, we walking right up to the Clearport. We driving up to the tarmac, and we walking on this heavy jet. And I'm calling my concierge. I say, I'm gonna tell him I want a rose on every seat in the plane. I want champagne. I want white wine. I want Fiji water. You hear me? And listen to me. Hey, what's your account number? I'm finna wire you. Go down to the fashion district in Miami and buy a Hermes blanket. So she have an Hermes blanket to cover up with on the plane. I'm gonna call my shopper down there at Saks Fifth Avenue. I'm gonna have her get that Hermes blanket. Meet me at the airport in Boca Raton and go to the plane before we get there and put the Hermes bag on the seat. And when we get there, she gonna, let me not talk too loud, cause these real plans I'm sharing with you. And then some people gonna say, listen, well, it ain't about materialistic. You ain't got to do it. What did I say? I say I want to give her everything that I can. If I ain't have two nickels to rub together, then I'm creating an oasis in our 1-bedroom studio apartment. Do you hear me? If I got to blow up a picture of Italy for 39 cents from CVS and put it on the wall. If I got to get a folding table for $5 from the $5 and below store and put a tablecloth on it and put wine glasses on it and get $5 white wine and pour in them glasses and go to our stove that barely work and cook a steak and some asparagus on that stove that we got and make her a dinner with that white wine or water if she don't drink white wine right there in our studio 1-bedroom $700 a month apartment. And guess what? I done been there and I done did that. At every level, you can treat this woman like she is royalty. Not man's royalty, not your royalty, but it's God's royalty. When you get her body, you loving her body like it's God's body. You not trying to just wham bam, thank you ma'am, no, you love it. And I'm telling you. And see, I'm going to tell you another thing financial that I've seen. Because a lot of times we so broke-minded. We don't want to hear nothing about spending money. That's a curse word. What? We'll do anything else but spend money. No, listen. I'm going to tell you something. Every time I done went broke on my wife, I spend the last dime. I remember I got an $8,000 loan from PayPal and I spent $5,000 of it on a Chanel purse for my wife. And I spent the other $3,000 booking a room and buying a cake in Miami at the Fontaine Blue and rented a Bentley for a day for $1,000. The room was $400 a night. I did it 2 nights. The cabana was $300 or $600 a day. I went broke. That loan was from PayPal was for business. I spent it on my wife 25th birthday. Do you hear me? I go broke. But that loan came from God. Do you hear me? Because my plan was to adorn my wife for her birthday. God done met my needs. If he had to get from Peter to get to Paul, he done met my need to take care of my wife on the level that I want to provide for her. Anything I want for her, God want for her. And he done met my needs over and over. I got to go. Time for my call. I'm 1 minute late. God bless you.